Hey guys, so I spent some time monitoring like diabetes discussion boards and stuff, and I've realized that there's some controversy going around diabetes. People are debating whether to pre-bolus or whether to celebrate diaversaries and stuff. But when it comes to diabetes, I think that there's two things that all diabetics can almost unanimously agree on, and that's that diabetes sucks. Like, it's super hard, it's not fun, and number two, that diabetes is really expensive. And I do plan on making a video on just how expensive it is from like an investment standpoint. I have a degree in business finance, so if you guys are interested in that, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get notified when that episode happens. You know what, while you're right there, hit the like button, just turn it blue. So just a little bit about me is I am a huge cheapskate. I hate spending money, I love saving. And that's not to say that I never spend money, it's just when I do spend money, I try to get the best value possible. I'd rather get this meal with a coupon for $3.09 versus just going to the restaurant and getting just a regular combo meal for like $7 or $8. So I've thought about different ways that we can apply that to taking care of our diabetes. And just to be clear here, like, I'm not suggesting that you just do the cheapest method possible, because honestly, if you wanted the cheapest method, don't buy any insulin and don't buy any test strips. Obviously don't do that because you will die, but you'll know what, you'll save money. But really the point of this video is just to help you guys find a better value in your diabetes and ideally get you a similar or even the same treatment for less money. And just saving like $100 or $200 a month can be the difference between living paycheck to paycheck and having a solid emergency fund in case anything does happen. So with that being said, let's dive in. Here are my thoughts on the subject. So number one is to crunch your numbers, and this has two parts of it. The first part would be to do a healthcare budget, and I'd recommend that everybody do this, not just diabetics, but especially diabetics do this. I mean, you do a healthcare budget just like you do a normal budget, so you're going to plan out all the medications that you're going to need. If you have an insulin pump, all the insulin pump supplies you're going to need. Obviously, if you're going to have a major healthcare expense like getting a new pump or maybe you need knee surgery, then obviously add those in too. And throw in a couple doctor's appointments as well in case you get strep or something else comes up. And just total up what your total healthcare cost for the year is going to be before insurance kicks in. And if you have a family, total up what it's going to be for your entire family. And part two of number one is once you have that healthcare budget, you're going to see how it's going to work out with your available insurance options. So say you work for a company and they give you two healthcare options. Option A is you got $100 a month coming out of your paycheck and you have a $1,000 deductible and a $3,000 max out of pocket. Option two is you can have $50 a month taken out and you have a $1,500 deductible and a $3,500 max out of pocket. So say you did your healthcare budget and you figured that you need $1,200 for the entire year for all your healthcare expenses. You can run those numbers through and you realize that through option A, the lower deductible, lower max out of pocket, but higher taken out each month, your total is going to be $1,040 because you're going to hit your $1,000 deductible. You're going to pay 20% of the next $200. And compare it to option B where you're just going to pay the full $1,200. You're actually going to be out money ahead because you're going to get $600 less taken out of your paycheck. Now I realize that these numbers are incredibly simplified and obviously I use round numbers just to make the math easy, but you get the general idea. Something else to take into account is if you do spring for the higher plan where more money is taken out of your paycheck, that money is tax-free. So if you're in a higher tax bracket, that might be worth keeping in mind as well. And keep in mind there are other curveballs that can be thrown in. Like for example, my insurance has a regular deductible as well as a pharmacy deductible. Some insurances will have pharmacy coverage where just whatever prescription you need, it's only $20. Keep those in mind when you're crunching those numbers. And also one more thing to keep in mind is if you're married and or you're part of a family, you're buying insurance for your whole family. It's not just you. So like for example, in my situation, I had the option of the insurance that I bought versus a different insurance. And this different insurance, it had a lower max out of pocket and it was a little bit less a month. And me this year, I'm going to be getting a new pump and, insulin, pump supplies, Dexcoms all throughout the year. There was just no way that I wasn't going to hit my max out of pocket. So this other insurance made a lot of sense for me. But whereas my wife is generally healthier and this other plan had a higher deductible and a 20% copay after that deductible versus 15% on the insurance that we're on, it just didn't make sense because we're buying the insurance for both of us, not just me. And number 2 is also kind of related to this, and that's knowing the value of employee-sponsored healthcare. So let me float around a hypothetical situation here. Say you're a entry-level manager at Walmart, CSM I believe is what they're called. You're making $13.50 an hour. You don't hate your job. You're kind of just floating around, seeing what else is out there. And you get offered a job as a teller for a local credit union, getting paid $13 an hour. Initially, you'll look at that and you'll be like, no way, I'm not going to leave my job to go take a pay cut. However, look at the health insurance plans. See, at Walmart, the very best plan that they offer has a deductible that's $2,750 with a $6,000 max out of pocket and 20% copay after you hit your deductible. When my wife worked at a credit union, the insurance that she got, it had a $1,000 deductible with a $3,000 max out of pocket and again a 20% copay. And they offer that insurance at very, very low cost to us. It was, I don't remember the exact amount, but let's just say it was really cheap, and I would be very surprised if the insurance that Walmart offered was offered at any cheaper than what we were paying. So say you've done your healthcare budget and your total healthcare expense is $4,000. I realize that's a bit high, but say you're on an insulin pump and you like a CGM, all that. Go see your doctor a couple times a year, and say it's $4,000. You compare the two. For Walmart, you're going to hit the $2,750 deductible, and then on top of that, you're going to pay 20% of the next $1,250. So roughly, $240. So that puts your total healthcare cost about $3,000. Now compare that to the credit union. You're going to pay the $1,000 deductible, but for the next $3,000, you're only going to be paying 20%, so $600. So $1,600 versus $3,000, you're saving $1,400. So if you're working full time, 50 cents an hour equates to about $1,000 over the course of a year. And while it absolutely sucks to be making $1,000 a year less, you got to realize that that's also $1,000 a year less they're going to be paying taxes on. And so if you're single and you're making that income, you're in the 12% tax bracket, you're going to be saving $120 on taxes. So not only are you saving $1,400 on your health insurance, you're also saving $120 on taxes. That's $1,520 compared to the $1,000 less that you're making. So all things else equal, it would actually make sense to take the lower paying job. And then on the flip side, you got to realize how detrimental bad health insurance can be. So it might feel like I'm picking on Walmart a lot when I talk about this, but a couple years ago, I was a student. I was just, as a full-time student, I was just working part-time. Actually, I had 2 part-time jobs, and my wife had to stop working at the bank. She, was looking for other jobs, and the option of Walmart came up. And at that time, because we were such low income, we were getting great health insurance through the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare. And if she was just working part-time at Walmart, say she was working 2 part-time jobs and just one of them was at Walmart, Walmart would still offer that insurance. And if your employer offers insurance, it means that you don't qualify for subsidies under the Affordable Care Act. So in other words, if she had just taken a part-time job at Walmart, it would have killed us in healthcare costs. And then number 3 is insulin discount programs. And so let me tell you about the one that I'm on. So I only have a 50% copay after I meet my deductible, which is pretty awesome. But since insulin is so freaking expensive, it still adds up. So 3 vials of insulin a month at a 15% copay, that's still $129. So over the course of a year, I'm going to spend $1,550 roughly. This discount program that I'm on, it will save you $100 a month on the Novolog, which is pretty great. It takes me down from $129.08 a month to $29.08 a month. And for those of you that, pay $100 a month or less on insulin, don't get too excited. It's not going to make your insulin free. But what it will do is it'll discount your copay down to just $25 a month. So ultimately, this discount card can save you up to $1,200 over the course of a year, which is pretty fantastic. What if you're on a super high deductible plan? Does that mean that you're just going to pay, $1,000 a month until you hit your deductible, and this is just going to take you down to $900? Luckily, if that's your situation, there is a better option for you. All three major insulin manufacturers, so Novo Nordisk, Eli Lilly, and Sanofi, they all offer cash programs now. It's official as of February 2020, and what this does is it makes it so that the most that you'll pay for insulin, up to 3 vials or 5 pens, any combination of any of the insulin products, you're just going to be paying $100 a month for it. And these programs are just game changing for people who have very high deductibles or who, for some reason or another, just can't get on health insurance or can't afford to. This, coupled with the affordability of ReliOn test strips, and I realize that ReliOn's not like the most accurate brand in the world, but I think it's good enough for a good majority of people. Those two combined together means $100 a month for insulin, say test 5 times a day. It's going to be $24 a month on test strips. That means that even people who can't afford or can't get on any kind of health insurance can still live for about $125 a month. And that is just awesome news. Now, I do want to say this, though. There is one big downside to these cash cards, and that's that it just circumvents the entire insurance policy completely. So, like, say you're on a Walmart plan and your deductible is $2,750, and you're like, that's just too much. That's going to kill me. So you get on these cash cards. You're paying $100 a month for your insulin. Come November, you slip and break your leg. That $1,100 a month that you've been paying all year towards your insulin does not go towards your deductible, and that sucks. And then number 4, and this is my last one, is to know the value of CGM, specifically the Freestyle Libre. Now, for me, the Libre did not work out, and if you want to know why, I'll put a link right here. But for most people, and I think that this is why the Freestyle Libre is so popular, is that it's incredibly affordable. Now, everybody differs here, but for me, under my insurance, the Freestyle Libre costed as little as name brand test strips if I was testing just 6 times a day. Now, personally, I pay a little bit more and I use the Dexcom G6, but for me, it has just been such a life changer. To give you guys some numbers here, I shaved 1.5 points off of my A1C. Now, 1.5 points different is so significant for my long-term health and even my short-term health. It's just going to make such a big difference. Something else that I'd like to mention here is that a lot of good insurance plans through employers that offer those is that they'll usually have prescription coverage, which basically usually the amount's $20. It can vary, but they basically say whatever prescription you need, $20 is all you're going to pay. Just awesome for insulin, but also under a lot of healthcare plans, CGMs are considered prescriptions as well. So really that means that you can pay $20 a month for your Freestyle Libre or for your Dexcom. And so, you can choose either spend $20 a month on test strips or $20 a month on a CGM. And I think that the CGM is just a no-brainer there. Now, I will say this, though, that CGMs aren't perfect. They're really good, but they're not perfect. So I definitely recommend that you have a couple test strips laying around just in case. I don't know if they'll cover both a CGM prescription and a test strip prescription, but if that's not the case, you can buy some really cheap ReliOn test strips. Like I said earlier, about 18 cents a test strip. And then one last thought that I had when it came to this is I was talking to someone, it was quite a while ago, but she was telling me that she had prescription coverage and it covered Senseonics Eversense. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it's the implantable CGM that goes in your arm and you just change, the top layer that communicates wirelessly, and it lasts for 3 months. So she paid just her $20 prescription fee for 3 months of CGM. And the Eversense requires you to test two times a day as well. So I think that hypothetically insurance would cover the Eversense and test strips. You know, get the best of both worlds. And really, since you only have to test 2 times a day, kind of like a month's worth of test strips would probably last you that whole 3 months. So really, you're going to be paying $40 for 3 months of CGM and test strips if you do have that coverage. Which, disclaimer here, I do own a couple hundred shares of Senseonics. This is not influencing the way that I'm presenting this information or my recommendation, but Cigna did just pick up Eversense as a CGM that they provide. So potentially a lot more people have that now. So it's definitely something to look into. Again, disclaimer, I do own some shares and I do hope that they do well. But you know, if you can get that level of CGM for that little price, that is absolutely something I look into. So, yep, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Did I miss anything? If you have your own tips and tricks, leave them down below. If you have any questions, just need further clarification on anything, leave a comment as well below. And yeah, guys, just please subscribe, hit that like button, and I hope to start making more videos soon. Thanks. Bye.